Welcome back to another episode of Come Follow Christ. I'm your host, Jason, where I love helping you stay focused on Jesus Christ every day and in every way. Tonight, we're going to gather to reflect on a remarkable moment in restoration history, a moment that has caused many to look forward towards Independence, Missouri, the prophesied center place of Zion. Back in March of 2024, the Community of Christ announced the sale of the Kirtland Temple, the Nauvoo historic sites, and several priceless manuscripts to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Their presiding bishopric explained that the decision came because of a growing gap existing between expenses and income, and that the sale was necessary to secure the church's long-term financial future. Though the auditorium and the Independence Temple lot were not part of the sale, that event caused many across the restoration tradition to ponder the future of the sacred space, prophecies, and the gathering of Israel. And the temple lot is here, which is owned by Community of Christ Temple Lot, and then this is Community of Christ Temple. Leaders of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints responded with gratitude and reverence. President Russell M. Nelson has often taught that the gathering of Israel is the most important thing taking place on earth today. The acquisition of early restoration sites fit naturally into that divine work. Elder Quentin L. Cook speaks of historical record, once said, "We honor the faith of all those who've gone on before us. The respectful, collaborative nature of the 2024 transfer reflected that spirit. It was not a triumph of one church over another, but a shared stewardship of sacred memory." To understand why these events stirred so many hearts, we must return to the earliest days of the restoration. In 1831, the Lord declared through the prophet Joseph Smith that Independence, Missouri was to be the center place of Zion. In 1833, Joseph revealed a detailed plat for the city of Zion, including a breathtaking plan for 24 temples, which are the ones here in the middle, two squares of 12, arranged in a sacred complex like anything the world had ever seen. These temples were not symbolic, they were architectural, functional, and prophetic. They represent a future society built on holiness, consecration, and preparation for the return of Jesus Christ. Modern prophets have continued to point our hearts towards Zion. President Nelson has taught the Lord is hastening his work in his time, and that temples are central to preparing the world for the Savior's return. President Gordon B. Hinckley once said, "We are building temples at a rate that we have never seen before," and he reminded the saints that the day would come when the promises concerning Zion would be fulfilled. Though the church has not announced any plans regarding independence beyond the existing visitor center and the temple lot, the prophetic vision remains alive in the hearts of the saints. Community of Christ, formerly the reorganized Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, has been the steward of the Independence Temple and the auditorium for generations. Their temple, dedicated in 1994, stands as a symbol of peace and reconciliation. Their leaders have spoken often of their commitment to spiritual formation, justice, and community building. While they have made no statement suggesting any intention to sell these properties, their 2024 financial disclosures acknowledge the heavy burden of maintaining large historical structures. They wrote candidly of the emotional and spiritual weight of selling sacred assets and of their desire to act responsible for future generations. One can imagine, in a moment of deep discernment, that the community of Christ leaders were sitting together in prayer, reflecting on their mission and their resources. Perhaps one of them might have said, "We've carried these buildings with love, but the cost is great." And another might reflect, "If we were to entrust these sacred places to another, it would be of those who share our restoration heritage." And perhaps a third might have added, "We must not only do what the Spirit directs, but with humility and faith." Such a conversation would not be about loss, but about stewardship. about ensuring the sacred ground continues to serve sacred purposes. This, of course, is a hypothetical moment, not based on any statements or plans, but just illustrates the kind of spiritual reflection that such a decision would require. For members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter day Saints, any future transfer of property in independence, however hypothetical, would be seen through the lens of prophecy. The land on which the auditorium and temple stand is part of the original center place designated by Joseph Smith. The idea of temples rising in independence is woven into the fabric of Latter day Saint eschatology. Elder Bruce R. McConkie once taught, Zion shall be built in the last days, and the Lord shall come to his temple. Thus, even the possibility of such a transfer would stir deep spiritual anticipation. Joseph Smith's 24 temple plan is not merely an architectural curiosity, it is a blueprint for the millennial reign of Jesus Christ. The prophet taught that Zion would be a place of safety, holiness, and divine presence. President Nelson has emphasized that temples are a place of covenant belonging, preparing a people ready to meet the Lord. As temples continue to rise across the earth, many saints feel that the day is approaching when the promises concerning independence will unfold in ways we cannot yet fully imagine. What is remarkable about this moment in restoration history is not division, but of convergence. Two churches with shared origins are finding ways to honor each other's sacred spaces. The 2024 sale demonstrated mutual respect, trust, and a desire to preserve the legacy of the early saints. In a world often marked by conflict, this cooperation is a quiet miracle. It reminds us that Zion is not only a place, it is a people, a community, and a covenant. As we look forward to the future, we do so with humility. We do not know the timing of the Lord's return. We do not know how or when the 24 temple plan will be fulfilled, but we do know that God is moving among his people. We see temples rising across the earth. We see hearts turning to the Savior, and we see the gathering of Israel accelerating in ways that prophets have foretold for generations. President Nelson has urged us again and again, the Lord loves effort. Zion will not be built by speculation, but by sanctification. It will not come through real estate transactions, but through covenant keeping. The Lord will bring to pass his purposes in his own time, but he invites us to prepare our hearts now. Brothers and sisters, the story of independence is not finished. The Lord has not forgotten his promises. Whether or not sacred buildings change hands in the future, the work of Zion continues today. In our homes, in our wards, in our temples, and in our hearts. And as we keep our covenants, gather Israel on this side of the veil and the other, and look forward with faith, we can move one step closer to the day when the Savior will return and reign in great power and glory. So thank you for joining me today on Come Follow Christ. If you'll please like, comment, and subscribe, that would be great. And once again, I love helping you stay focused on Jesus Christ every day in every way.